Okay, folks, here it is, part 2, as promised. Before I delve into my bag of tricks here, perhaps I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about a couple of things I got up my sleeve. First of all, I've been talking with Norma Schruin, the former director of the Senior Center, and Thelma Ravinsky from the Historical Commission about the history on building the Senior Center, in all the workings and mechanizations that went into that, and the role that the Friends of the Norfolk elderly played in all of this. And it was a very, very important part. And we tend to overlook that. Norma
I can't contribute anything to that because I didn't even know where Norfolk was at that time. I didn't know there was a Norfolk other than Virginia.
Fuck yeah! Norma has about 6 or 7 scrapbooks, maybe 8 scrapbooks, of stuff that people have saved about going way back. Oh boy, all the way back to, jeepers, 1989, 1990, even before that. On the Norfolk, what we did for the elderly when it was in its infancy, and we started meeting at Town Hall, we started meeting at the Federated Church and all of that. And it's interesting, some of the stuff that she's accumulated. Well, we need to find a home for that material. Norma's organizing it and has done a marvelous job. And I went to see the library folks and explained to them what we're up to. And they were, really? You want to put that stuff in the library? So I said, well, how about I show you? You know, what? And then they said, oh, cheapest. You get 5 or 6 of these things? We put it in the Norfolk Historical Room. Sure. Okay. So we've got a place now.
Oh, good.
The Historical Society didn't want them. Senior Center's probably not the best place for them. So we've got a spot for them. So Norma and Thelma and I have been talking that we would like to do in our program on this treasure trove of stuff and show people what we have and the fact that we're going to put it in the library. And for folks that are interested in seeing or reading about the genesis of the elderly here in Norfolk and all, and there'd be a place where you could go check this stuff out. And Norma and Thelma have accumulated no end of stories.
Oh, I can imagine.
And I egged them on. And I said, well, you know, there's going to be a lot of dead air time if you guys don't have some stories to tell. Well, they've got stories. So, folks, keep your eyes peeled because I think we're going to do that show.
It should be interesting.
Yeah. I think that it'd be fun.
Yeah. Even if you, like, I'm a relatively newcomer, not a townie, but it's educational too.
Yeah.
Because I don't know most of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not that I can take part in the stories, but I never knew it, so I didn't know where this came from. I was surprised when somebody told me about the things at the senior center, how much came from the Friends.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
The furniture, the chairs, the equipment in the kitchen, and
Basically, what the town did is they built the shell of the senior center and said to the Friends, now you guys, you wanted it, now you guys can pay for
yeah.
filling it up.
I don't think hardly anybody in town knows that.
Yeah, I know. So
Even
we did
people
the
that
whole
have been here
thing.
the whole damn time, they don't know.
Yeah. It's so anyway, that's going to be. I think that'll be a fun show. And Thelma's chomping at the bit. We'll actually have to dry her out probably, make sure she's sober before we have her on.
I
the air.
didn't say that though.
Oh.
It came from that side of the room.
Oh dear. Another thing that I've been kicking around a little bit is I am a voracious reader. And I've been reading some good stuff lately. And I'd like to share some of the stuff I've been reading with you folks. So I'd like to do a I've been reading program.
Yep.
And I know you've got stuff that you've been reading
Yep.
that you've found very interesting. And I'd like to share it with you guys. So I'm thinking about a program like that. And also, Thelma Ravinsky and her friends at the Historical Society published 2 books, interviews with old timers here in Norfolk. Those are great books.
I read them.
Yeah, yeah. And I'd like to pitch in and help. And what I'm thinking about is perhaps inviting some of the older folks in for a half-hour segment.
That'd be good.
And talk to them, and then give the disc to the Historical Society, have them, as they did before in the past, transcribe it. They got a high school, or a couple of high school girls to sit down and transcribe this stuff. And they did a marvelous job.
Great.
And so I've been talking to a few old timers, and sounds like it might be an interesting thing to do. So if any of you would like to consider coming on with us for one of those half-hour segments, be more than happy to talk to you about
That's
it.
right.
Yeah. And so anyway, those are kind of some of the things that I've been thinking about lately. And if you folks have any ideas on something you'd like to see us do or talk about, give us a holler. Dwayne has
I got an email.
an email.
It's my name, DuaneWeiss at Comcast.net. It's simple.
Yeah. And any input that you may have, that would be appreciated. Yeah. Well, sir.
Did you see that Mr. Ballat, the chef, what is it? He got acquitted?
Yes, I did.
When I started reading about what is his name? Not Bellotti.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to watch his cooking show once in a while.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. But he bought that thing all about that Italian food court thing down in Boston. He owned that for a while. But when I saw what the plaintiff was presenting, I said, "Honey, you're done."
Yeah.
When she,
He brought new meaning to the word groping, didn't he?
yeah, and she brought new meaning to more exploitation. When you start putting things online, they don't go away. It's not like picking up your phone and say, "Hey, Mary, guess what I heard?" Bah, 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 bah. You type it, put it online. It's there. It's out there.
It's going to
When
stay out there, too.
She says to somebody, I can exploit this and make some money off these kind of people. You know, that came right back and bit her.
Now, what is most interesting is that I think he felt, and his lawyer felt, he was going to be guilty.
Oh, I think there was.
He was going to
concerned,
be
yeah.
convicted of it. And he was going to be faced with a big settlement. And there's going to be other people who he has grabbed. Now, with that said and done, what his lawyer did, or he did, was, gee, I don't want to jump to conclusions here, but when someone like that asks for a trial before a judge
yeah.
only,
Yeah.
gee,
Well, it's smart
of course it is.
because of there's so much
Hysteria
mass-
is removed.
Yeah, exactly. The media hysteria is what I was looking for. They convict you right away. They write an article, but the headline reads something different, and 80% of people just glance at the headlines and they get the idea that's what the article is about. But he was smart to do that.
Very smart. Now, I'll carry it a step further. Maybe the judge was a friend of the lawyer's
It's always
brother-in-law,
possible.
and maybe they knew who they were asking for. Now, I know you can't do that. You can't ask for a specific judge to hear this.
But they do.
Yeah, what about? But you can whisper it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
There's cases locally, but DUI cases. There's a judge, and I believe, and don't quote me, but in someplace in Plymouth County, that he's sympathetic to DUI cases, and
Somebody's got a
Smart-
bad ice cube.
yeah, smart attorneys will try to get him to hear the case,
Yeah.
hear the court. But I think that's pretty much
Yeah. So
SOP around here.
I'm not saying they had him wired, but I think they felt very confident in placing their views and having the trial in front of them.
I'm
Now,
also I'm very uneasy with people. I'm not impressed with celebrities at all. But also, I think there's a group of people out there that will just automatically sue for big money just because they can. When I don't like that either.
you're right. You're right. The threshold. Well, of course, the British have a way of dealing with
Yeah,
that.
I know where you're going with that one. That's a good idea. too.
Yeah. When you start a lawsuit in Great Britain and you're demanding damages, if you lose, you pay the other person's legal fees.
That's right.
That he was forced to defend himself from if your claims are not upheld. If they're not true, well, guess what? You're paying for the whole 9 yards.
'Cause
And that is not the worst idea in the
that's
whole
a great
wide
idea
world.
because it stops a lot of these nuisance suits.
Yeah.
That people will sue, say a manufacturer or a company, for not millions but thousands. They'll bring a $20,000 lawsuit, knowing damn well that company's going to settle it because it would cost them $30,000, $40,000 to defend it. So it's cheaper just to settle it.
Insurance companies.
Yeah, insurance companies
and
do that a lot.
accidents, yeah. They know if you're rear-ended and you say, "Oh man, I get headaches," and, that's $10,000.
Yep.
They're going to have to pay out, and they hold it off and for 2 years, and then they're forced to settle with you.
Yep.
And you know you're going to get the $10,000 because they know that is what the average is in court, that they're going to be awarded. But the other thing that also, well, it didn't amaze me, but that chef was very candid in that he admitted all that was true.
Mm-hmm.
That he had grabbed women south of the border. And that was, he said that was a different me that was doing things like that, and blamed it on booze, and he said, I don't know what I was thinking and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And not guilty, he walked.
Yep.
Because he said, she said.
Yep.
And as you say, she wasn't the most persuasive
Yeah.
witness in the world. But interesting. Here's something else interesting. Tom Brady,
With
Fox News.
Fox Sports.
Fox Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our friend Tom Brady, Super Bowl quarterback for the Patriots and with Tampa Bay,
Yep.
is probably, this is finally going to be his last year. He's 45. He wanted to play to 45. And last year led the NFL in passing, yardage, touchdowns at the age of 44. So he's proven everything that he wanted to prove that he could do. So now he announced he has signed a contract with Fox Sports to be the lead football sportscaster,
Yep.
a color guy, I guess, and signed a contract for
Not pennies. Yeah.
$40 million. Imagine that, folks. You watch the football games on Sunday afternoons and probably get on the Legion or go to the local watering hole and shoot the breeze with your buddies about the game and critique the game. And I would have done this if I was Belichick and all that. And all you get is probably an aching head the next morning for it.
Yep.
He's going to get $40 million a year.
Yep.
Amazing. It's a great country.
Oh my God, is it?
But you know what, Duane? I got another one of these. Oh, please, Billy, find it quick. Don't be looking for it too long. I have another one of these, and it is, here it is. The Mets have cut Robinson Cano,
I saw that.
who they signed to a huge contract.
Yep.
So Robinson Cano, his final 2 years, his skills have eroded, and so the new owner, Steve Cohen of the New York Mets, has cut him and has given him $40 million. 2 years' pay to go away.
Yep.
That appears to be the starting point for all kinds of things
How
here.
come we're not getting this stuff?
Yeah. Jeepers creepers. I'm telling you, he signed a contract for $254.5 million. This was the residue the last 2 years. So much of it was front-end loaded.
Mm-hmm.
Because I figure that as his skills erode, it'll be cheaper to cut him back then, you know. And
I sometimes wonder where baseball gets the money. It sure
television,
it has to be the TV rights, because if you look at the stands,
advertising.
there is not a lot of people sitting in some of them stands in some of those teams. And when you start paying salaries like it's little wonder though that the fan has to pay such a high price to go to a game. which I don't think is right. But
No, I don't either. But you know what, Duane? This is not right either.
no, it's not.
That we're
Absolutely.
paying these bozos
Yeah.
$40 million.
And he's getting that because his name is Tom Brady. That's what it is.
Yeah. So, what's wrong with this? In Sweden, when I was over there, I used to work for a Swedish company, remote control, and it was in Falun, F-A-L-U-N, Sweden. And I'd go over every couple of years, and they'd come over here every year to see our operation. And over there, I got to meet quite a few of the Swedish people. They did a very nice thing. One of the principals opened up his house and invited all his neighbors to come meet the guy that is selling our products in the U.S. And just a little cross-pollinization, get to meet him, and they had dinner and all that stuff. I felt like a visiting celebrity. And they had a lot of questions about America, about us, how our lifestyle and everything. And one of the things that came out was, you know, here in Sweden, we really punish anyone who makes over $2 million a year, tax-wise.
Tax-wise, yeah.
And we just feel that $2 million is more than enough and more than proper payment for working hard or being lucky or whatever. But the rest of it is not right. And that money we would rather share with benefits for our workers. And when they retire, the year that they retire,
Yeah.
that paycheck is what comes to them every month for the rest of their life.
Really? Holy cow.
You know, so that if someone was making $60,000 a year, they didn't get $30,000 a year in retirement. They got the full 60.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Plus health care. So anyway, it was interesting. And there's some of me that says they get it right and we got it wrong.
There is a point
Yeah.
that money, material things, how much more can you possibly use or need or want? Where does it end? You know, these
When is enough enough?
That's right.
Yeah. And there's a greed. And there's also arrogance.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm going to make more money than that bozo down the street.
That's some of the problem. Some of the sports people, particularly, that if they're not making more than X over here, they're not happy. And it's not the actual amount of money; it's the fact that I'm beating that guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. The graduated income tax, I think, is a way to level the playing field. But you know, you can't just take one strata, the top strata, and blow it way out of proportion. It seems to me there's got to be gradual steps.
Sure. Gradual steps.
But you know, if you're making $60, $70 million a year, you're an entrepreneur. You started a business, a software business.
Yeah, okay.
It's grown like crazy. You've got all these stock benefits. By the way, I hate to jump in the middle of this story with something
ahead.
else, but I get stock reports, annual reports from companies, and I like to go in there and see what the president and the three vice
What they're making.
presidents are making. It's amazing. And I've said a couple to you
Yeah.
too. But 11 million for a smallish bank? You think that's enough to scratch by on?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. 19 million, 39 million, plus another 55 million
Yeah.
in stock that he was awarded for being over his budget.
What amazes me sometimes is they get paid in the millions and the company lost money. Well, you and I could have done that well.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
And not demanded as much money.
That's right. Half the money we could have lost that.
There's something wrong
Yeah.
with that. Now, I got a statement from a very small bank that I bought some stock in that hasn't done very well. And the president is making $1.9 million a year. Plus, he gets stock awards. Now, he didn't get any this year because the stock price has got to go up to a level and then they award it to him. But if the stock doesn't go up, he doesn't get the stock until it finally does go up.
Yeah. Oh,
And those are good only for 5 years of time. And if they expire, tough luck.
yeah. Yep.
But must be tough getting that kind of stuff. But
Oh, I got to tell you something before I forget.
yeah,
I finally got a scam call this morning that everybody else gets. I never had one. If you get a call from Mitch Wilkins, answer it. It's worth the laugh.
okay.
It was this morning at about 9 o'clock. I could pick it up, and I see this guy called yesterday. It's on the missed call line. Says, I'm just having coffee. I said, hello. You know it's right away. It's a scam because they're not there right away. And then it click, click, and then
Yep.
and I hear, Dad. I said, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm telling Monica, pick up. I need the phone. She can't catch on what I'm trying to tell her. So I said, that's right. Dad, I need help. I said, oh, son, what's the matter? I got a broken face and my face is all smashed in. I got a broken nose and teeth. I was in an auto accident last night and now they're holding me. Oh, that's too bad. What car were you driving anyway? Well, I wasn't driving my car. Well, who's what? Brian's. Oh, Brian, is he okay? Yeah, he didn't get hurt very bad. But, he said, I'm going to need help. I said, well, you can count on me. Right away. I'm just going on and on and on. Finally, I said, what car was Brian driving? Was he driving? Who was driving anyway? Well, I was. That's why they're holding me responsible. I said, well, why isn't Brian driving? Well, his father just died, and he was so upset, and that's why I was down seeing him in Rhode Island. I said, oh, my God. His father died? You mean Ralph? Yeah, Ralph. What do I make up? He'd agree with me. So I'm thinking, how far can I take this? I went on. I said, well, which car were you driving? You weren't driving his old pickup, were you? No. The new Mustang? Yes. I said, you're going to have to pay for that Mustang. I know. That's why I need help. It went on, and finally, I asked him something I shouldn't have asked him because click, he hung right up on me. He said, oh, I'm getting played here.
I've been getting a very, very bad speaking guy. Hello? I'm from Medicare company.
Yeah. I think we get the same guy.
Yeah. And I said, where are you calling from? From Medicare company.
Yeah,
Your
very good guy.
Medicare. Have you received your new Medicare card?
Yep.
I said, yes, I have.
Yeah.
Oh, the blue one or the red one? I said, no, this one is just black and white. Oh, well, do you know that all the benefits are not loaded into that one? You must get the blue one for man or the red one for lady, or some such
I know.
crap.
It's crazy.
And I said, no, physically, I said, where are you located? I in Florida. I said, whereabouts? Tampa. I said, how's the weather down there? It's fine. No, you need to give me your information. What is your number?
Yeah.
I said, well, you must know it. You're
Yeah,
calling
you called me.
me.
Use that
No,
same
I
one.
must, you must verify. I said, okay. I said, that's enough. I said, I hope you end up in jail, you bastard. And click, I guess I said the magic word.
If you get a call from Mr. Wilkins, it's not your son. If it's, I don't know if he can play a girl, but he's at first he would be convincing if you actually had a kid that could have been in that situation, but he never stops crying. But he's pretty easy. You can drag this poor kid out for about 5 minutes before he finally catches on.
Yeah. Oh, I've had a couple of those, and I get to the point after about a minute or so. I just that's enough, you know. But I have 4 sons. Which one are you?
Yeah.
He said, well, he said, your youngest son.
Yeah.
I said,
Oh.
Peter. He said, yes, Daddy. So I said, what's the problem, you know, and all this. And so I said, well, your sister is not going to be happy with you. and he said,
There's no
oh,
sister.
I know, but I'll make it up to her. I said, you whack job, I don't have a daughter. Click.
I know. Once they know they've been had, but then they know you're wasting their time.
Yep.
So they'll.
You know what else
they'll
I
hang up.
hate too is the ad that comes on. Now this is pre-recorded. Wow, you are the toughest guy to get a hold of. You're tougher than the last pickle in the bottom of a pickle barrel. And as soon as you speak, then he comes on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you don't speak, then it just disconnects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the one I'm glad you picked up.
Yeah, because I was getting set to put on my phone answering
Yeah,
voice.
you know damn well it's still a recording.
Yep. Ah, God, I hate them. I hate them all. But anyway.
They can't do anything, I guess. You'd
I
think
know.
technology today they'd be able to.
Would be able to defeat that.
Find
yeah.
that, but
there's got to be something they can do. One bit of good news. Lyme disease. There's a local drug company that's working on something that is very, very promising. It's developed by mass biologists of the UMass Chan Medical School.
Good. Jeez,
Yeah.
I've had 2
And,
bouts with Lyme disease, and the disease is bad, but I get so damn sick from whatever the antibiotic they give you.
Doxycycline.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I get totally nauseous.
Oh, really?
Sick from it. Yeah.
I've had I've had Lyme disease so many times I can't keep track of it, and I just go on. The doxy never bothered me. 14 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a long time, and then you feel like crap all the time with it.
Oh, wow. My brother-in-law just, he stepped out into the yard and ended up with 2 ticks on him and didn't realize it until he took a shower.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's.
They had to take him in the ambulance. He got sick as a dog. He couldn't get warm. He was in the hospital
Ticks
for
love me. I won't go in the woods anymore.
4 days or so, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, ticks.
Monica's never had a tick.
Wow.
We'll be out together. I'll come back in the house. I'll have ticks on me. I warned Patrick one time. I said, be sure you examine yourself real close.
He
after
ended up in the
mowing
hospital for 3 days
with
with a
Lyme?
tick bite.
tick bite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope it wasn't one of my ticks.
I don't think so. He was living at home at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Duane, we have got another problem that is really, the newspapers are full of it. Young attackers strike again on Boston Common.
I was just going to bring that up.
Attackers on the Common. Young criminals still accountable for their actions.
Yep.
But the judges let these kids walk. And juvenile rampage downtown continues, and on the other side, elderly wheelchair-bound man
I saw that
punched
yesterday.
and robbed.
I don't get the Herald, but yesterday when we went to that
Yeah.
function they had,
Yeah.
it was on the table
Yeah.
while they were getting ready. I was looking at that paper, and just excuse after excuse, and nobody seems to want to
12
frame.
and 13-year-old
Yeah.
kids are attacking, and one kid got grabbed by the cops, and I guess he jumped an old guy from behind.
Yep, that was in the.
Yeah, and he said afterwards, "I was
Just playing leapfrog."
And he says, and we just said, let's mess with some people.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful, huh? Now, when we get to be 81, our bones are brittle. We don't need to get knocked on our keister
Yeah.
on a sidewalk and end up with a broken hip or.
I think it's 12 that they can't, under 12, they can't
so,
do
yeah.
anything to them. They can't, because that 11-year-old, there's an 11-year-old female that's really a troublemaker. And I saw in that the police said, or the judge said to the mother, you have to bring her in for whatever the investigation was. She says, no, I'm not gonna. Just total divide them and just say, I'm not gonna do it. Well, you know, the kid knows that mom ain't gonna do anything. The cops aren't gonna do anything. This one's out of control. This one's gonna either up dead or kill somebody, or maybe both.
Yeah, you know.
And then mama's gonna say, I don't know how it happened.
Well, you know, the whole thing is, and it comes right back to ground zero again. The breakdown of the family
There's
unit.
no father influence.
No father, but also sometimes no mother.
His grandmother has to
Yeah,
do it. Yep.
and the mother's out either working or hooking or doing. Your drugs are a part of this whole problem, but the absentee father is the number one cause.
Yeah, it is. It really has a problem. But
Yeah.
This is one of those problems where we put blinders on. We just will not admit that there's a problem, because if we admit, we have to start saying, well, maybe this is the fact. You know, maybe there is another factor.
There's another factor too. The guys are allowed to skate.
Skate. Yep.
Okay? But the women allow themselves to be used as baby mamas.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's true.
Now, all they have to do is say, you ain't getting it, pal.
Yep.
And have them go away. But no, they keep on getting pregnant. And why? Because they get more money from the state,
Yep.
more different kinds of welfare. And I think the limit, I think it's like 4 kids. After that, you don't get any more money. But so the women are just as much to blame as the guys.
And what always gets me is that some poor kid does probably get shot. You know, he's dead.
Yeah.
And he's 14, 15, or 16 years old, and he got shot 3:30 in the morning on a street someplace. And Mama is there. Oh, he was such a good boy. He was going to be a lawyer or a doctor. It's 3:30 in the morning. Mama, what are you doing letting a little 13, 14-year-old run around in the street at 3:30 in the morning? You didn't even know where he was. And this is not the first time he's been out at 3:30 in the morning.
Unless she says I work 11 to 7 as a janitor or something.
Fat chance.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. They let the kids
They don't care.
run
Just-
wild.
Just let him go.
Yeah. And so there's no structure to the family.
No.
By the way, there was a defensive back a few years ago interviewed on in the NFL, interviewed, and it was one of these. It wasn't like 60 Minutes, but it wasn't a sportscaster interviewing him.
Yeah.
It was a newscaster, and said, now you were featured in a news article about having fathered 9 children and by 7 different women.
I think I saw that.
Now, he was highly paid. And how did you manage to do this? Oh, I just lovable, I guess, or some such thing. But wouldn't you think that once this became known, there would be a mechanism where he could be brought into court and said, here's a list of the 9 kids. Here's how much you're paying every week for these 9 kids.
Yep.
And the court will distribute the money, payable to the West Roxbury District Court or whatever. And then the women get paid. But they're probably all afraid of him.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
And if he, you go to police about me, and I'm going to fix you. I don't know. But then again, we've lost all respect for the police in this country too.
Yeah, more so in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
That is really pathetic. I know somebody it's not of my relatives, but it's an in-laws of in-laws of in-laws who just resigned from the police department, a police department. They're actually moving to Texas. He got up there. He was a detective in the Boston force, and he said, I can't do this anymore. He says, I'm going to get into a situation, not if, but when. It's going to happen, because it invariably, if you stay in this job long enough, he says, I'm going to get in one of these shooting situations, and they're going to have me up on some kind of a complaint.
Oh, sure.
Even if I'm not guilty, it was self-defense, but it's so hard to defend yourself. He says, I could lose everything. Hell, I could lose my freedom. He said,
absolutely.
Much less my house and everything else.
Absolutely.
So he said, this is just not worth it anymore.
No, it's not. And and they want to take away the protection, what protection police departments have.
That's right.
From being sued. I tell you what, they do that, then there's not going to be any police forces left.
No, you can't function in that job without some kind of protection with actions, because you're just a sitting duck.
By the way, the new mayor, Michelle Wu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
W-U.
She was asked about these kids running wild,
Okay.
and her answer was basically, we've got to get them the services and the counseling they need.
Yeah.
Never mind punishing the little SOBs that knocked a guy down and put him in the hospital for 3 weeks. No, no, no. We're not going to punish him. No. He's not receiving the guidance and the love and the structure that he so requires. That's what we have to do. So in other words, the hell with the victim, but
Worry
let's
about the well-being of the
criminal.
perpetrator. Yep.
That's
exactly.
right. She's going to be quite a mayor. A little sweetheart right now.
Sometimes wives don't see things exactly the same way. I commented on those kids, and I said the 11-year-old, that one, and the one that was jumping on the other person. I said, what has to happen is that they have to pick the wrong guy. And he gets up and puts a roundhouse right in their face and let them spit teeth for a while. That's the only thing they're going to understand.
Yeah, that's it.
You ain't going to take them to counseling. They don't care about that.
They won't go.
They won't go.
They'll go once,
Yep.
and that'll be the last time. They won't go again. And what are they going to do? They're going to send social workers down to grab her and put her under arrest and bring her to counseling?
Yeah.
That gets old fast.
Yeah, they just refuse to listen. That's all it is. Just shut it off. You can't force somebody into some kind of counseling thing, because I can shut it off and not even listen to what you're talking about.
By the way, there was, I've been able to find these
You found
things,
something
Duane.
that you did deep enough, and you found ore. You found a pay dirt, huh? Victims of rapid. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So at
Mission
this
Hill School. Yeah.
one school on Mission Hill in Jamaica Plain, where the kids have been abused sexually and beaten up physically, and it goes back to October of 2014. Now, I'm no whiz here with numbers, but it seems to me that's 8 years.
Yes, it is, and the whole character, or the whole charter. I don't mean as a charter school. The whole mission statement of that school is to let them form their own self, their own personalities. Did you see the one of the former teacher there? He was shocked when she found out that most of the kids couldn't read.
Oh.
They were never forced to learn. There's no tests. There's no accountability. They just sit around. They talk about the flowers and how they feel and all this stuff. They just do whatever they do. If they say no to them, well, that's inhibiting them.
Yeah. Well, this abuse at this school has run rampant for 8 years.
Oh, it's been going on for a long time.
Yeah. So guess what? Now, are they clamping down on the guys abusing the kids? Or the women abusing the kids? Or the kids that are being abused sexually? Are they arresting those teachers? No. They're closing the school.
That's right.
There you go.
It's ludicrous. It doesn't make any sense.
No one is responsible.
Some of those
for their
people should be
behavior.
criminal. And I don't mean the kids. I mean
Of course.
the administration and the people that set that up.
Absolutely. They're looking the other way. Well, Eddie has a tough time with women, so he graduated
Oh, I know.
kids.
It's absurd.
Yeah. I'm telling you. Well, Fox News had a poll. I'm just trying to figure out who the hell, whether this was a Gallup poll or whether this was Fox News or what. But anyway, basically what they said is, these are voters.
Okay.
What are your concerns? What's your number one concern for the future of our country?
Oh, I did see this thing. I think, yes, yeah.
Number one, inflation.
Inflation, yeah.
Now,
They're all pretty much good concerns, if I remember right.
yeah, now, the number two, I have trouble with.
What was that one?
The future of democracy. I've got to believe they were given a list
Oh, of course they were.
to work from.
I think they ranked them.
Because
People don't come up with that.
they don't write down future
No.
of democracy. Number three, politics. Number four, Russia, Ukraine. Number five, crime. Number six, schools. Number seven, guns. Number eight, opioids. Number nine, immigration. Number 10, abortion.
Those were
Now-
those were given to them, and they let them rank them.
Yeah. Now, I really believe this to be an accurate poll. If you take the future of democracy and throw it out of there, and politics and throw it out
That's
of there.
not two things that the average Joe Schmo on the street
yeah.
corner going to say.
But Russia and Ukraine,
Yeah.
crime,
Yeah.
schools, guns, drugs, immigration, and abortion.
Those
Yeah,
are meat and potato issues.
Those are the ones.
That's right.
Yeah. And I just, we got so many things in this country to be concerned about.
Yeah.
What is the Biden administration doing about any of these things?
He's so far over his head
It is.
that it's impossible for him.
And it's no fun sitting and talking on this show and beating him up every couple of weeks because it is so pathetic. He was, jeepers. And Jan Pataki is a real sweetheart too. Man, she is we'll talk about put downs. Only to certain people though they ask questions. So Netflix looks like it might be sold to Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Well, you mean Twitter? Twitter's been sold.
Twitter. I'm sorry.
Okay. 5.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, you're all right.
Twitter is going to be sold, which started this conversation about censorship by the media companies.
Mm-hmm.
The head censor at Netflix makes $17.5 million a year.
I'd take that job.
We could handle that, couldn't we?
We could handle it.
Here's another one that drives me nuts. Now, I'm not even bright, but this really drives me nuts. Probe casts shadow on solar projects.
Okay, I don't know what that one is.
The solar panels are coming from China.
Well, yeah, we let them
And-
take the technology.
Yeah, and we're not able to get them. The Chinese are all screwed up. They're not able to make them. So we have projects that are being delayed. Why do we farm stuff like that out?
This solar panels and solar production, power production, was one of those things that was totally conceived and developed and initially manufactured in the United States. That is an entire U.S. program. But we somehow went to China with it, saying, well, they can make it cheaper probably or something. Well, you know what they did? They just stole the technology.
Of course they did. Now, we had this school of thought that we need to offload our industrials, and they're icky and polluting and low paying. They need to go to China so they can become an industrial country and a powerhouse, and it'll be good for everybody. So we gave them the textile industry,
Yep.
lock, stock, and barrel.
Everything.
We're in the midst of giving them the automobile business.
We did it with the wind
Yeah,
turbine business
sure.
too, and they proved that because there is electronics inside that
Yes.
generator thing, and these guys that developed electronics, they said they've got a big ego, so they electronically put their name. I don't know how they do it, but electronically their name is inside those generator things that they make. So it's just kind of an ego thing. Well, didn't they would get back stuff from China? The guy's name is electronically embedded in them yet. Is that they couldn't say, well, I didn't steal this technology. Two, Bill.
Okay. You know what? Got one more.
Okay.
Legislation looks to ban the use of DNA of assault victims in unrelated cases. So, if a person is assaulted
Yeah.
and they get either DNA from under the
Okay.
fingernails,
They got the DNA.
and it goes into this
Oh,
data
I
bank.
see what you're saying. I know what,
And
you're
yeah, and
I was thinking it was the victim's DNA that we were talking about. It's
the user,
yeah.
the bad guys.
The bad guy.
And now goes into the data bank, and he was found not to be
Yeah.
involved in this assault on you. But later on, I get assaulted, and they go into the data bank and find his DNA
Yeah.
did it to me.
Supposedly they don't want to be able to use that.
Yeah. So that isn't that sort of like testifying against yourself, which we kind of frown on in this country.
Okay, but you know, there's a precedent though.
It's fingerprints.
That's just what I was going to say. You and I have been in service. What do they do when you get in the Army? Hey, take your fingerprints. Do you think they throw them away? Hell no. They file them.
Sure.
Now it's electronic.
Yeah.
And if Bill gets caught stealing up at CVS again, they just take his fingerprint and they got him.
So you know what the answer to this is? Don't do bad things.
That's right.
Don't be a damn criminal. And American League Baseball suspended Trevor Bauer for 2 years for beating his girlfriend silly and assaulting her. And
Yeah.
where's the court? The
I
court
don't know.
chose not to prosecute this.
I know. It's nuts. I think it's nuts with Pete Rose and his band being banned
Yeah.
when now they got sports betting.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have blundered our way through 2 more hours of your time. I hope
you're
you
better off
enjoyed
for
it.
You're much better off for it.
That's absolutely right. And if you're not careful, we'll be back a couple of weeks to do it all over again.
Remember, watch for us on the 25th and the 28th at that transfer station. You'll be glad you did, and you did a good thing.
And you did a good thing, is right. Folks, see you later.
Happy Memorial Day.